off, and all of a sudden West Coast might get their tails up.
And get a couple of their players into form. Get Leon Davis back into form in the process, I think would be a nice thing.
Underway at Etihad Stadium, Collingwood and the West Coast Eagles. Scott Selwood gets an early touch, spears it wide. Kennedy, there's a start.
Great start, Jason. We spoke about Dean Cox's first tap out of the game. It was a beautiful tap out to the advantage of his team, and they've got a kick for goal that would silence the Collingwood crowd early.
This guy has had an exceptional year, and he has improved out of sight as a player. And it's a very nasty looking run up for kicks, but a very effective one, Dwayno.
Absolutely. 35 goals, 7 he's kicked this year. Looks like he's treading on an ant's nest.
And he just flushes them.
He normally does. That's a little short and only behind, but
still from 52, 53, hit the post. It's still a very good kick, but that is anything but a fluent run-up.
The double stutter that I find interesting. It's not just one stutter, the double stutter, and it's always a double stutter. Routine.
The ant's nest, or the Barney Rubble, I've heard it called, which isn't bad either for old Flintstones fans. Ball along the outer side. Pendlebury gets an early touch. It's not a great one.
And it's normally where they're
Thomas.
so good, Dwayne, is coming out, taking it from out of their back line with skill.
And first touch for Jared Blair as well, as you saw. Late inclusion for Collingwood. Off hands, Cloak missed it. Lays a tackle on McGinnity. Ball still alive. Cloak tries to shuffle it out. Davis has been in the press a bit this week. Tackled and tackled well.
Good to see Jared Blair involved in the game early. We spoke to Nathan Buckley prior to the match, and he said he might be diminutive in stature, but he is a hard-nosed young man.
The smallest player on Collingwood's list. Keep an eye out for him. He's wearing the number 47 in his first game of AFL football. Wellingham cut off by Pritis. We'll get another ball up. In fact, everyone has a hard decision to make at times in their life, and when he got the call up from Collingwood, he had the big decision to make, Jared Blair, whether to call his girlfriend or his mum first to let
Who did he
them
call?
know. Who do you reckon you'd call?
Surely mum.
Have to call. He did call mum. Thomas. Play on advantage here, perhaps. He was tucked into the boundary, so it'll come back. And there's your explanation. The umpires tonight, Matthew Nichols, Jeff Dalglish and Sean Ryan. Free was free in the back. Because Thomas was tucked into the boundary, no advantage allowed. It's back. Ben Reid. This year's nominations for the Rising Star, and here's Harry O'Brien. Steps around in some style. Johnson gives it off. Touch play on was the call. I'm not sure Wellingham knows it. They're coming at him and doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, doesn't need it. And Blair might get a chance to kick a goal with his first kick in AFL footy. He's already had a handball. He'll line up from 45.
Funny thing about Sharrod Wellingham thinking it was a mark, so did the 2 or 3 immediate West Coast Eagles players around him. But they came in from about 10 metres away. They were queuing up to run in and tackle him. But one thing you do know, if you're going to attack a small man like Jared Blair, you've got to get low. You've got to go lower than you think you need to, or you're going to run into a high tackle all the time.
Been on the rookie list at Collingwood for the past 18 months. Was elevated a couple of weeks ago to the senior list. He's the Morris Medal winner in the under-18s. His skills are normally good and had a chance to make it a goal with his first kick, but missed.
Bertie, you mentioned how dangerous Heath Shaw is for the Collingwood Footy Club tonight. He's getting tagged at the moment as a defensive forward job by Adam Selwood, so look after that one.
Yeah, good spot.
Thanks, Steve.
It's a role that we see a lot of clubs employing these days.
Schofield long. Big fist from Cloak. Thumps it back inside 50. Collect ball. Thomas. Short and precise. Lockyer. And he is a precise kick himself.
Beautiful play the way Luke Borlake came and got the ball, then gave it out to Thomas, and fantastic kick straight down the chest of Lockyer. There's ball, getting the ball out. Dale Thomas didn't probably spin as well as you'd like, but hit the target, and Collingwood have a shot at goal.
Normally a beautiful kick, target Lockyer.
Uncle Andrew played 78 games for the West Coast Eagles. Famous West Australia footy name, yes.
Actually played on him.
You're going back a bit there, Jace,
Going
too.
back too far.
And there's that precise kick we talked about. Collingwood in front.
The goal, Jace, is a result of continued pressure by Collingwood. I think the ball was in Collingwood's forward line for about the last 3 minutes. Often when you have such a continuous pressure, we see the great handball by Ball and Thomas's fantastic kick. Often you have that continued pressure, you do result from a kick at goal. And that's why Collingwood are so good, because their forward line pressure is excellent. It keeps the ball in. Even when they're not having shots at goal, they make sure the opposition can't get it out. And I think Nathan Buckley's done a great job in the Collingwood forward line at that. Interesting to see if Cox can get over the top of Jolly here again.
Jolly just starting to raise his level in the last week or two. Started a little slowly this year with his new club, but started to kick into gear with the business end coming. McGinnity gets the clearance from that congestion. Good fist away by Tooby. It looked like being Strike's ball, and Tooby took it to the line, didn't take it across. Wins himself a free.
Not a good sign for West Coast, Jason. Collingwood look like they're up and about, and they look very, very sharp at the start of this game.
17 possessions to 6 early. Can't get their hands on the footy, West Coast.
O'Brien wide.
Thomas running hard for him.
First of about 38 possessions for Swan tonight, you'd think. Jolly.
And this is the man who that West Coast can't afford to have space. Can't afford to let him run and dictate the play going forward. Heath Shaw just so good at his disposal and setting up Collingwood's attack.
Anthony back into the team this week.
And if it's not Shaw,
across to O'Brien.
Not sure who's free, Dwayno, it's O'Brien. And when Maxwell comes back in the team, between the three of them, they just seem to always have one of those three free.
Johnson uses the full 15, heads toward Davis, got a hand to it. Embley, boundary line if he wants it here. With him, Swan, he wanted Scott Selwood instead. Nick Nananui, a twist, a turn, a handball. Embley missed Pritis, got it back for his trouble. Shepherd, and Shepherd does as his name would suggest he should. Strike on the outer wing, knocked away from him. Lynch, and we'll get a ball in.
And that pressure, Jason, of Collingwood's out of their forward line caused the kick to be a 50-50 kick. They just do not give aren't giving West Coast the ability to set up and an easy possession running out of their own back line.
Now, the other thing West Coast aren't doing either is handling the ball cleanly to give themselves time.
True.
Natanui out to Pritis, gives it up. Dalziel, kick smothered.
They probably raised the bar this year as far as in-your-face pressure goes, Collingwood.
Yep.
Maybe the best team at putting immediate pressure on the ball, carrying all those around the contest. Not as concerned about zoning back as other teams are.
No.
They're about getting their men around the contest to make the person with the ball make an immediate decision under pressure.
Pritis was getting tackled. Swan comes free with it. Hacks a kick toward the wing and it works. It's playing all right at the moment, Blair.
Yep.
Another
Third position.
touch. Wellingham. Inboard. A wobbler. Tough one to gather. Clean bowls Lockyer. Bounces to Embley. Kennedy. Dalziel didn't really need to give that one to Scott Selwood. Gives it back to Kennedy. That allows Collingwood some time to get back. He does get the kick away towards Strike. Poor bounce. Strike. Clean bowl.
A bad fumble and then compounded it by giving away a free kick. Needs to be better.
Anthony wide. Dawes. Anthony played in defence in the VFL last week. 38 possessions and 12 marks in defence last week for John Anthony as Wellingham goes inside 50 towards Davis.
Poor choice of kick. He's kicked it to Natanui and Davis as high as Davis can leap. It's a big leap over the top of Nick Natanui.
Swift to McKenzie, backwards. Embley. Dalziel, normally a precise user of the ball as well. Heads wide. Selwood won't get there. Reid takes an easy mark.
Doing themselves no favours at the moment, West Coast, with their use of the footy.
Jolly's inside 50. Needs to be a good kick. It's a spectacular kick.
And that's the difference. That's a stark contrast between the way West Coast are using the footy and Collingwood. And I guess that's the abyss between the two sides at the moment, Hurdy.
Yeah, it is. And again, Collingwood not letting the ball. Yes, it went out of the 50, but it really only just got out of the 50. I mean, this kick here into Jolly's a fantastic kick. Put it in between three Eagles players and had to be precise. And as you said, Dwayne, Darren Jolly is starting to come into the form, or is hitting the form that we saw him at Sydney for so long. A slow start to the year, but he is playing the sort of football that Collingwood recruited him for. And as a ruckman, as any player coming into a new team, it takes you a while to adjust the systems and setup of the new team you're coming into.
Handy for Collingwood to have a premiership player as they head towards September in their lineup. Strikes it okay. Strikes it beautifully. Collingwood get the first two.
We said before the game, Jason, the battle between Jolly and Cox I think will dictate the place of this game. Cox has to take control of this game and not only beat Jolly, but beat a lot of the Collingwood players and set the tone for West Coast. As we see the kick coming into Jolly again, great kick. But Jolly kicking goals, if you can kick goals at a ruckman, you make yourself even more dangerous. And to slip forward, the ruckman kick 1 or 2 goals, it means that Cox has to keep his eye on him as a ruckman.
Collingwood coming in 9 wins, 3 losses and a draw. West Coast 3 wins, 10 losses. They'd be a little worried coming in with 5 losses in a row behind them, the West Coast, if this one gets away from them early. Ebert heads wide, Kennedy flies, Pressy Giacomo with him. Kennedy crumbs his own ball but can't get a handball away decisively. Shaw likewise. Tuvey lays a tackle. Umpire lets it continue on for a little while. Ebert short, was that 15? Scott Selwood marks it.
It looks like he's trying to run with Dane Swan, Scott Selwood.
And this for the West Coast Eagles first. Only kicked the 1 goal this year. Scott Selwood doesn't get a chance all that often. Didn't look good off the boot. It's still in play. And Jolly's fifth superb. Didn't just thump it down, thump it through.
And if you're playing as that defensive forward line player to pick up a goal or two, really important. We saw Hawthorn last night, Jason. There's Muston playing on his Western Bulldogs player. Kick a goal in that defensive role that he was playing last night.
Lockyer, wing. Magnificent crowd in. Collingwood always draws a big number, but against an interstate club. And there's barely a spare seat in the house. Harry O'Brien, one of the reasons they keep coming. Brown from the wing. Options are plenty. Heads a little wide. Dawes gets a free kick, holding against Schofield. Dawes tucked into the line, tough kick. Schofield maybe still a little gun shy after being torn to shreds by Jack Rewalt in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. He and McKenzie combined saw Rewalt kick 10. There's a Victorian boy back home from Geelong. Paul Schofield. All eyes on Dawes. Give Collingwood the first 3.
Nice kick.
That is magnificent. That was never in doubt.
Well, to me, he's been the most likely of the big men they've played out in the square, Collingwood. Jack Anthony's been given a couple of goes and he's now maybe reinvented as a defender. We've seen Josh Fraser and other ruckman players, tall options up forward. Travis Cloak always looks better to me when he's further afield. But Chris Dawes, he has a strong presence. He holds his ground well. He always forces a contest. And I think he's the man they will look to go forward with out of the square.
And Dawes kicking another goal, or a goal from a free kick. Collingwood have 5 free kicks to West Coast Eagles, 0 at the moment. But yeah, Dawes is just a fantastic player up front for Collingwood. I think he's kicking, although it doesn't look fantastic, Jason, normally hits the spot.
Yep.
From the palm down, Ebert with the clearance for the West Coast. Wide, sure, solid hands.
It's a good mark, a good contested mark, and set them up again. Set Collingwood up to go forward with their precise kicking.
Luke Ball, just when we thought all the Luke Ball St Kilda drama had died down a bit, they've got the Saints again in 2 weeks' time. They have the Magpies, and no doubt the Milne issue and Malthouse will be revisited. Cloak at half forward.
A bit too strong there.
Maybe too far out to score.
Just pushing McKenzie out of the way.
Lee Brown was doing star jumps inside 50 to try and get his attention, but he likes his chances. 20 goals, 17 this year. Runs on the Franklin arc. Sets it up nicely. Nat Nui went up, left it down, and the snap from Swan is way wide, misses everything.
I think he realised how much time he had, Dane Swan.
You talk about Nat Nui going for the mark, and that's where he has to get better, Nick Nat Nui, and take those marks. That's what he's there for. He's there to contest. To see Leon Davis cutting one off, and that'll do his confidence no end of good.
And Dawes flies, can't mark Anthony with him. Dawes, Didak, gets the snap. Swan down there again. And he won't miss this one.
It's strong and great body position by Dane Swan there. He didn't have the right to take that mark. He was probably out of position and beat two West Coast Eagles players to take the mark. Terrific strength by Dane Swan.
In the blink of an eye, it's a 23-point margin.
Superb play, Dane Swan. And that's what you do when you make an error. He just missed the snap moments ago. Kicked it out in the full. He's involved in the very next contest, and he makes no mistake. He's 1 against 2, but he has a keen sense of where the ball's going to fall, and he has great strength through the hips and the legs to hold his ground, to push McKinley out of the way, and to take the mark, running back with the flight of the ball. Great play.
Yeah. As we see him coming off the ground and having a rest after kicking a goal. I'm not sure you would have liked that, Jason.
No, which sleeve did you prefer?
Which sleeve?
He sat next to Beams.
I've got to defend our right to bear arms.
Oh, Dwayne.
I'm not a big sleeve fan. From the ball up, Swift gets it off to Cox. Misses the handball option. Davis out of the middle of the clearance. Cloak off his toe. Lockyer hunts it down. Options are plenty to give to Blair. Another possession. And a precise one towards Anthony. Couldn't mark it. Didak heads wide. Dawes gets there again. Little nudge by Schofield was good. In the side, Rosa mops it up. McGinnity chased down, dragged down. That's a 360. It's not in the rules as a holding the ball free, the 360, but if it's a slow one, they normally pay it.
I don't want to be the prophet of doom, Dwayne, but this looks nasty early. From a West Coast perspective, this looks nasty.
Floats it up high. Getting back, Cox with the fist, knocks it down. Wellingham ran into a traffic jam, holding the ball.
Well, they finally get a free kick, the West Coast Eagles. But you're right, Jason, they cannot hold on to the ball. They're only 2 or 3 possessions in a row. They need to string some ball together and deny Collingwood the ball.
The cry long.
And if you kick it to this bloke all night, there is no way you can win the game.
Short. Pendlebury. Another change on the bench. So Swan, who started on the bench, came on, demolished everybody, went back to the bench, and is now back on, gets a possession.
He wouldn't give it to Presti, but he'll give it back to Pendlebury.
And he heads toward the square. Cloak flies this time. Off hands Thomas. His eyes lit up there. Waters, Wilkes, almost holding the ball. Tackle laid by Cloak. Drags it through for a try. Does Rosa?
Every time the ball hits the ground in Collingwood's forward line, it almost looks like they've got more crummers than West Coast have defenders.
Pendlebury. Too easy.
Turnovers are just absolutely killing the West Coast Eagles all over the ground. Coming out of their forward 50, inside forward 50. They have to keep the ball and use it a lot better. Otherwise, this is going to get very, very ugly, as you said before, Jason.
Had 38 possessions the last time these two teams played. Scott Pendlebury, and failed to get a Brownlow vote in that game. Such was Collingwood's long list of good players.
I'll tell you a nasty stat after this kick.
Okay. On the good side for a left footer. Awesome. Collingwood hot. Super hot.
With 5 goals to nothing, they're struggling to get their hands on the footy, the Eagles, and when they do, they turn it over. It is just complete domination of the Collingwood midfield. Swan, Pendlebury, those sorts of players starting to get plenty of it. Luke Ball, they've all had 5 possessions early and barely a whimper from the West Coast midfield. And this could be a mother of all beldings unless a few of the West Coast players really start to stand up. That nasty stat I was going to tell you about is the inside 50s already in this first term. 13-4. That is just one-way football.
And one of the reasons for that is the kicking efficiency. Eagles around 60%, Collingwood above 80%. It's too much. Around 60%, not going to win your games of footy. When there's not a lot of pressure around the ball at the moment either. It's not a high-pressure game, is it, Jason?
No, well, the only ones putting on pressure are Collingwood.
So another clearance, Beams.
Pendlebury and Swan are just going to knock up getting the footy.
Pendlebury, who do you want to give it to? Beams will do. Could have had a crack at the goals. Heads to the pocket. No free. Blair does well again. Bounces back onto it. Gets a handball out in the cloak direction. Tucked into the pocket. Dumped by Priddis. Friendoff was high. And a free kick to Matt Priddis.
And this is where they have to think through their play a lot better. As you see the free kick again. That's, well, probably unlucky for Cloak as a reaction, just a split-second reaction, but it was too high. But they have to think through how they work the ball out of this situation. And I'm not sure this is the way to go.
Priddis goes toward Jolly in a 2-on-2. And Jolly's ball.
I do like the way Jared Blair attacks the footy. He is just 100% hard-nosed straight at it.
Jolly sends a high one in. Dawes the target with Cox. Cox got a hand to it. Dawes got the ball. Gave to Swan. Touch play on. Beams under it. Gets the call now. Thinks about a handle. No one comes at him. So he slides home behind.
Well, how does a bloke take a mark uncontested? It's called touched. He stops thinking he's taken the mark, then hears the call and plays on. And while all that unfolded, not a West Coast player anywhere near him.
Very poor.
20 goalless minutes for the West Coast to start this one. Good fly in the middle. And first game last week, Goldsack was okay, just the 7 possessions. But game number 2, the rust should be out of the system. Second game for the year. Swan in the pocket.
I'm not sure if you've seen a lot of West Coast this year, Jason, but they don't seem to run and handball at all out of defence. It seems to be run, kick. And against Collingwood, when they're in this sort of form, with this sort of pressure they've got on their forward line, they need to work it out of that back line rather than just kick to a contest.
Yep.
Beams plays on, has some space, runs to 50. And behind. Well, at least they've started accurately for Collingwood. It's 5 goals for at the moment as they look to make a triple change.
Dane Swan up to 8 possessions already, leading the way.
And if you joined us late and started on the bench, he's already been back there for a spell. Schofield in the Jolly direction again. Jolly, little nudge out there. Adam Selwood's ball.
Try and bring it over this side of the ground, Jason, rather than going down the line. I mean, that might be a team tactic, but get it over the other side of the ground. Get it away from these Collingwood players.
McKenzie to Wilkes. Wobbler. Didak went for the big fly. Waters. Didak looks like he's going to get up okay. Waters short. Cox. Good opportunity this. Short. O'Brien just got a fingernail on that. Turvey got his hands free. Lacroix still fighting on. He's got 4 to beat. Lacroix and O'Brien breaks free. Magnificent to watch. Jolly.
It'll be a tough night for Mark Lacroix because Harry O'Brien's wearing him like a glove and he's got the speed to trouble him.
Didak's got some speed too. He's got Cloak on the move. Davis inside 50. He can get some confidence back tonight.
This might be the night where he gets back into form.
Well, Beams is in the goal square on his own.
Oh, again.
This is crazy. This is way too easy.
It's a bit embarrassing.
But Dane Beams' running ability is terrific. I mean, he ran the half-back line there to get on the end of that. That's why he was able to get free. As we see, this is West Coast winning the ball and Didak hurting himself. The ball turned over in the Collingwood back line, the West Coast ball, and Harry just took it away from Mark Lacroix. Fantastic effort. Leon Davis took the mark inside 50, and there we have Beams just standing in his own and kicking a goal. It's going to be interesting, Jason, to see when West Coast actually want to put some pressure on their opposition and stand up, because at the moment there is no pressure from the West Coast Eagles on Collingwood players, and Collingwood is doing what they want.
This is men playing boys at the moment.
Absolutely. Priddis, high to half forward. 2V. Brilliant hands. Thomas, Johnson. Some time, some space. Lockyer. Back to Turvey. Cloak calls for an inside 50 in his direction. Should peel back onto it. Does. Gets a roller towards the goals. Blair lurking. Natanui with him. Caught. Davis. Can he get the spark? Just not working for him.
Lucky let off for Andrew Embley. That was a bad fumble on the last line of defence.
And he's one of the players, Jason, that, like Dean Cox, need to stand up and lead this team along the way. I mean, you're already 6 goals to 0. This is where, as a senior player, you gather your team together and you work out how we're going to actually put on a stand and make sure it doesn't get any worse.
Harry O'Brien lurking. No free there. Probably should have been. Play on the call. Pritis caught. The old sack wrapped him up. Good help from Lockyer.
You're right, Dwayne. It probably was a free kick, but Harry O'Brien, just his ferocity at the ball and the man has been absolutely sensational already tonight. Maybe a free kick, but leaving no stone unturned, letting his Mark Lacroix, West Coast's most dangerous player or forward-line player, in any doubt of how hard he's going to get hit every time he wins the ball.
I can smell blood right now too. Wellingham, Johnson caught, holding the ball free. And the West Coast at least get a settler. Wide ball from Strike. Got too wide for McKinley. Anthony, clever. Wellingham, short. Beans. Wanted to attack, had to go back. Anthony.
And that's smart, Dwayne. There's nothing up ahead of him to kick to, so go back and reset. And West Coast could learn a little bit instead of just kicking it down the line to 2-on-1 situations.
Swan heads wide to Dawes. Fell. Lockyer. Nat Nui with him. Lockyer kept his feet. Hamill not so good. Dawes attacked the ball and McGinnity at the same time. Nat Nui. Lynch floats it over to Rosa. Short kick, half forward Lacroix. Boy, do they need one here. Lacroix. O'Brien just beat him to it. Too quick.
Exactly.
And got one too high, maybe in the back. Take your pick.
But also wanted the ball more too, Dwayne. It was quick, but they could have hit at the same time. The crowd just needed to hit the contest a bit harder in my mind.
I think you're right. Collingwood can take the remaining seconds off the clock and go in with a 39-point lead. It's a fair first term at the office.
The only disappointing thing for Collingwood, Dwayne, is they have a draw. So the percentage is going to mean nothing to them.
It's a good point. Lockyer. Confidence might mean a bit to them. Beams back again. McGinnity ran him down. 1-2 with Marston. First touch for him. Shepherd. Marston. McGinnity. And it'll come to nothing. Quarter time here at Etihad Stadium. You might need to pinch yourself. That is the real score. 6-5-41. West Coast. 2 behind.
Radio 2, Radio 2, Radio 2. Radio 1.
Spark the West Coast. As Jason said in our pre-game, they've lost 25 of their last 27 games away from home, the West Coast. Jolly and Cox. Ball still in there. Adam Selwood tries to break free. Rosa. Pritis shoots it backwards. Big bump on Shepherd. Kick was okay. Selwood peeled onto it. That kick not so good. Makes it extremely tough for brother. Scott made it look okay in the end. Dalziel back to Scott Selwood. A few possessions, 6 possessions. That's number 7 for Scott Selwood. Back to Adam, heads wide, and Prestigiacomo thumps it across the line. And Collingwood fans, don't they love Simon? He passes Sid Coventry and moves to 15th on Collingwood's all-time games list tonight. Simon Prestigiacomo. And Sid Coventry, of course, is down the Coventry end as he plays at the moment. Ball, Thomas, Beams, Johnson, Shaw, Thomas. Up high, Embley couldn't take the mark. Dawes, Blair, Cloak.
He's looking good, Blair, isn't he? Gets in and under and runs pretty hard. He could get it back here if he keeps running hard.
Johnson to Didak. And Cloak, the target, takes the mark.
That's a great kick, Jason. It doesn't look sensational, just a beautifully weighted kick.
And a central ball, Jolly in the hole.
That's a pretty nice kick as well, but that Didak kick...
Well, look at... Now, Dean Cox is looking back at his teammates. Matt Rose has gone on to Dane Swan, so you can't expect him to leave Dane Swan. You've got to be responsible for your opposition ruckman. And Dean Cox was just dropping back, expecting the long bomb to the square. Darren Jolly played clever football and put himself in an attacking position. Look at Cox filling the hole, but he's not keeping an eye on his opponent. Then he turns around and he's going off at his teammates.
Very clever play from Darren Jolly, though. Just putting himself in a position 15 metres off Cox. Smart, experienced ruck play.
For his second, with the first multiple goal kicker of the night, Jolly directly out. It's a 7-goal-0 start.
Collingwood worked that ball very well. It wasn't scientific. It wasn't even excellent skill. They just worked it from pack to pack, got their first hands on the ball and worked the ball down. So the kick come in. Didak takes the mark. This kick is a beautiful kick by Didak. He was going to cut in, saw Cloak just free and just weighted it nicely in the middle of a pack. And then Cloak's kick into the middle of the ground where Darren Jolly positioned himself beautifully. 15 metres off his opposition ruckman, Dean Cox, who couldn't quite get there to spoil the mark. Smitty, we see Emily down the boundary line. What seems to be the problem?
Yeah, it just looked like he got a knock into the back. He just holding his back now. Just speaking to the physios as he just landed.
Flew for the ball and landed flat on it.
Due to play his 200th game next week as well, Andrew Embley.
The other thing that Darren Jolly's doing is he's jumping over the top of Cox. He's won the last 3 tap-outs against Cox, and I wouldn't have expected him to get over the top of Cox.
Blair plays a hard tackle, goes back in and gets it, Blair. Jarrett Blair in game 1 has been magnificent. In fact, the interesting part about Jarrett Blair as well, he was advised by the Collingwood coaching staff, you don't have to get all hard balls. You can actually stand out and get a few from the outside of packs as well, because he's just been getting in and under most of the time in the VFL.
He's had half a dozen touches already.
Selwood with the 3 for 2 high. Critis, Cox, Short, McKinley. 47 plays 2. And if you have joined us late, it's still side bottom that was the late withdrawal for Collingwood that allowed Jarrett Blair to get his first game. Shepherd.
Good, got there, Jason.
Only just there on the bounce.
Dalziel, Short, Marston, almost run down. Kick was good though. Kennedy, superb hands.
Terrific kick, and although the kick across the face of the goals wasn't a great kick, it set up the play and able to go straight down the middle of the ground. See this kick from Marston is terrific kick out in front of his teammate, and terrific mark from Kennedy.
There's the Ants Nest stamp. There it is again. And it's not working for him tonight. Out on the full.
Well, I think he got a little bit too close to the man on the mark on that occasion, but regardless of how bad the year is for the Eagles, I think he's been a shining light, Josh Kennedy. He just seems to get better with every game he plays. He presents beautifully. His work rate is second to none. He's a good pair of hands, and he's been kicking goals. Swan
didn't want to waste it again. Heads to Beams.
And this is the other thing that Collingwood doing so well. West Coast can't get the ball back off Collingwood once they've got possession. 2 things. West Coast are kicking it away when they've got the ball, and Collingwood just won't give it back to them, which West Coast have to work out how to get the ball back off Collingwood when they've got these runs going.
Well, they've owned it all the way from full back to the wing now, just using it perfectly.
Terrific skill level by Collingwood. Some really good disposal of the ball in their team.
That's a horror kick.
That is not one on.
Just as you said it on cue.
It's one way to break your ankle. Marston got it from Waters. Not a lot to go to. Rosa.
That's one of the worst kicks I've ever seen.
That was very nearly an airy.
McKinney.
Got so little boot on ball.
Floats it to half back. Strike. Good to play on. Made his debut last week. This is game number 2 for Andrew Strike. Heads to Lynch. Knocked away by John Anthony.
Well, did you see the Falcon out on the ground, Hurdy?
You see
right on the bonds.
Darren Jolly.
There it is. Never fun.
That's why he laid the high tackle. He was dazed. Nat Nui and Jolly. Nat Nui over the top with the reach. Silver gets a free. Play on advantage. Swift to Strike. to Kennedy, couldn't take the mark. McKinley, back to Kennedy, kick half smothered. Shaw, Harry O'Brien, here we go.
This will end up as a shot and a goal, the way Collingwood are moving the ball effectively. Although this is disappointing.
Every time you give them a run,
not giving them a run.
they do something silly.
Schofield short. Prittis. West Coast Eagles threatening to kick a goal here. Prittis dances through some traffic, wobbles it to a terrible spot. Prestigiacomo.
We had Kennedy up against Heath Shaw one-on-one, which is the right kick. He just didn't kick it far enough.
Thomas toward Jolly, put it on the advantage side of Jolly. Shepherd got a fist in and goes back and gets it and then kicks it out of play on the full.
Not sure what he was trying to do with that kick. I honestly don't. I mean, that's one where you just took it back into the corridor. It didn't even look like he was trying to do that.
The angle of the ball across his foot, he just got it all wrong.
You think?
Well, could have been his intention to kick it into row 6, but I'm
finding it hard not to be facetious at the moment, Ernie.
You're enjoying this game, aren't you?
No, I'm not a bit. We need to see West Coast find something.
Well, I mean, Collingwood fans will be enjoying it right now. They are a contender.
I've got to say, the
superb footy.
The last 5 minutes of West Coast, that hasn't resulted in a goal, but what they've done is they've won the ball back from Collingwood, which they couldn't do in the first quarter. Their disposal is still very ordinary, but I've been impressed with their fight to win the ball back.
Embley back on after being injured, which is good news. Ebert sits that up a little. Lynch held it.
And that's actually normally the start, is winning the ball back and getting yourself a bit of confidence. And they're also winning that inside 50, 6-1 up against Collingwood at the moment.
Shaw rolled that through Shepherd's legs. Prittis, Swift, Dalziel, gold sack. With the emphasis on the sack. 47 plays 2.
Well, the hand pass from Swift didn't give Dalziel much chance. He had to sit and wait.
Middle of congestion again. Willingham, Beams got it out but to Waters. Dalziel wanted that and Rosa wanted it as well. Lynch feeds it back. McKinney sits it up, hoping for a big grab. Cox is down there. Kennedy got hands to it. Kennedy gets his own crumb. Caught, gang tackled. Prestigiacomo, Willingham the outlet.
Working hard, Kennedy, Jason. He's making those contests. He's not able to get a goal yet, but he seems to be working very hard.
And often outnumbered.
Davis.
Take him on, Leon.
Mick Malthouse has stuck with him. He's been the #1 in the AFL this year for tackles inside attacking 50. Leon Davis. Mick Malthouse said he's working hard, and that's the reason he's in.
It's good to see him up the ground a little bit. Good to see him up the ground, winning the ball, able to run off his man if he stays up the ground.
Back into play. Pendlebury. Rosa was waiting for it. Swift, Lynch. It opens up for the West Coast now. They're yet to get a goal in almost a quarter and 10 minutes of footy. Thomas, Beams, Cloak, Tuvey, Lockyer. Dawes calls for it long. It's not long. It's short. Pendlebury. Dawes still calling for it long. Pendlebury sees him now, puts it up, and Dawes with the mojo rising.
And again, you've got Wilkes and McGinnity looking at each other. Wilkes turns around. He goes, "What's going on?" McGinnity's following Leon Davis. I don't know why they got confused.
They both followed Leon Davis and tried to block Leon Davis, who was leading across the face of play, which left Dawes free. You got to know who's on who, though, don't you?
I can understand why Wilkes is upset, because he actually went back onto Davis to cover from McGinnity, and McGinnity didn't pick up his man.
Yep.
Dawes.
Been a bit of a stalemate the last 5 or 6 minutes of this game. And Dawes relights their fire.
A mix-up by the West Coast Eagles on who was on who caused this goal. As you can see, Leon Davis cutting across the play. 2 West Coast Eagles players went with Leon Davis and left Dawes free. Dawes, Jason, I mean, round 5 this year, you wouldn't have picked him to be as impressive or dominant in the Collingwood forward line as he is now. He's really making that position his own. We talked to Nathan Buckley before the game about who's going to take that spot. I think they're leaning towards Dawes at the moment.
Just to continue in that vein, Hurdy, they left out Josh Fraser tonight. He's stuck on 199 games. Josh Fraser can't get back in. Medhurst not in. Dick to come back. Still chopping and changing the forward line, and Dawes is one player that looks like he's firmly entrenched at the moment. Scott Selwood. Scott Selwood's ball in the back. Possession number 8. Heads wide. Shaw in the hole again. Lockyer. Doing as they want at the moment, Collingwood. 53-2, and it's just a matter of whether they end up becoming their own worst enemy and getting a little bored with it. Shaw to Prestigiacomo. He's got Brown wide, he's got Pendlebury long. No one comes at him initially, and he heads toward Pendlebury, who floats in and strong hands again.
Very good mark.
Crowd wanted 50. Chips wide. Wellingham, one of the 5 Western Australian players in Collingwood's 22 tonight. Cherub Wellingham heads to the pocket to Dawes again. Wilkes with a fist. Didak plucked it. Waters got him over the head. Scott Selwood shepherded, but for Cloak, unfortunately for him. Wellingham with the feet of Didak. Really had to work to get it. Now misses Anthony, but Harry O'Brien to back up. Tried to slot it past Lynch. Cox, Lynch, O'Brien gets the handball out. Natanui. He can have a run if he wants to. Short, Kennedy. Lacroix.
Yeah, kick it long.
It's in a one-on-one, Lacroix. Lacroix, Johnson. Lacroix gets the bounce, knocks it to his own advantage, and rolls home a ripper.
Great goal.
It took a long time to get there first, but it was worth the wait.
Great run and dash from Lacroix. Great composure once he got his hands on the ball. I thought his first touch, he almost fumbled it, pushing it out in front of him. With the West Coast Eagles, Dean Cox won the ball in the middle of the ground. Won it in this contest, as we see Didak here, kicking it across the face of play. And there's Lacroix just gathering in a terrific goal. Really good concentration, and he's got terrific skill and just needs some more opportunities to kick goals like that. They needed that one, Dwayne, to say the obvious.
Took a piece of magic to get them on the board.
One of us had to say that.
I thought you two were stunned there for a minute. You weren't going to speak.
Neither of us wanted to actually say that. Scott Selwood long. Guess what? They need another one. Natanui knocked it down. Lays a tackle. That might be ball. He was slung. Prestigiacomo dropped it. Strike. Rolls it through. Strike one for him.
Jason, we're talking about Scott Selwood at quarter time. He hasn't done a lot when he's got the ball, but he got that centre clearance. He's getting a bit of the ball.
He works hard. The one thing you can't knock Scott Selwood for is his endeavour.
Yeah.
He loves to attack the footy. And good defensive pressure there from the forwards. It's actually Heath Shaw, I think, that fires out a hand pass straight to Strike, who kicks the goal.
Another mature age player coming into AFL late. Debut last week, 22 years of age, turns 23 later this year. 77 waffle games with West Perth before making his AFL debut. Pendlebury knocks it down to Wellingham. They've owned the last couple of minutes, the West Coast, which in the context of this game is good news. Ball toward Cloak. Gets a run and a mark.
Nice kick by Luke Ball, beautifully weighted out in front of Cloak, and that's a really strong mark.
And he likes his chances.
Kicks it a long way, just not always sure where it's going.
Which is a worry when you're kicking a goal.
Runs to 52, gets under it a little. Cox, good pluck.
And he had to get under it. Wayne, I think he got so close to the man on the mark that he really needed to get under it to get over that man on the mark.
Marston, Dalziel, McKinley. Well worked. Some confidence coming back for the West Coast. Eben. Outmarks ball and takes off on him. Open forward line. Kennedy or Natanui. Natanui shepherded for Kennedy. Pocket. full.
He shepherded when he should have gone for the ball. He wasn't sure. He's in two minds whether to go for it. And whenever you're in two minds, you just go for it. I mean, he had position A, and that's another kick into row 6.
Unless he was called out of it.
Yeah. Well, the kick was intended for Kennedy, but it actually could only have been marked by Nat Nui. But Josh Kennedy just couldn't find that little bit of Mark LaCroix magic, could he?
O'Brien to Didak. Short Alan Didak and Swan. 13 possessions. Number 2 in the AFL at the moment for total possessions this year. Coming off a season where he was number 1 again last year and gets 2 possessions in this string. Short to John Anthony. He floats that up for Pendlebury. Nat Nui should have eyes on the ball. Pendlebury dropped it. Plays for the free. Nat Nui chases. Pendlebury did well. Beams, Anthony, Pendlebury. He got too much help. Shorts it. Jolly can't take the mark. Knocks it down. Davis lays another tackle inside 50. Lynch, Schofield. Might be a turnover here. Wilkes wide. Embley and takes off. Did nicely. Rosa. Scott Selwood.
LaCroix one out forward.
It's a little chip kick, made it tough for Dalziel. In fact, he made it impossible. Swan, superb. Used the body, then went and got the ball. Kick not so good. Scott Selwood cuts it off. Embley. Rosa. Swan. Goes hard. Caught. Didak comes up with it. Johnson. They're away again, Collingwood. He runs the wing. Full house here at Etihad Stadium. A little bit of stunned silence at the moment. Collingwood haven't dominated for about 10 minutes or so. Pendlebury. Dawes. Thomas. Centering kick. Brown. Couldn't mark it. Goes back, gets it, spins. Lockyer. Gives it up. And beams. Misses.
I like the kick from Dale Thomas. In his first year of football, he would have tried to kick the miracle goal from the boundary line. He squared this up beautifully to Lee Brown, who probably should have marked. Really should have taken it out.
It's probably the tail of his season. Dale Thomas is having a better year.
Yep.
Hasn't even got a Brownlow vote, not even one for the past 2 seasons. So the umpires have thought that he hasn't been in the best 3 on the ground in any game he's played in the last 2 years. But he'll get a few this year. He plays game 100 next week against Port Adelaide as well. Dale Thomas.
We do have a Dale Thomas feature interview coming up at half-time, and I dare say Mick Malthouse and company have just about knocked the flair out of him over the last couple of years. But what they have done is turned him into a good, consistent AFL footballer.
Yeah, I think he's still got the flair when he needs to, but what he's doing is 90% of the time playing good, consistent, hard football.
I think he's been on the end of a couple of bakes.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, a few bakes. Would there be a Collingwood player who hasn't been on the end of a bake?
Probably not.
Sure. He gives them when they're needed.
He and Harry O'Brien played their 100th games for Collingwood next week as Embley gets that clearance. Reid and Lynch. Reid, little tap. Lynch. Likewise a little tap, but straight into the foot of Strike. Gathers. Marston. Pocket. Ducks out of a tackle. Caught. Strike. Back in again. Tackled by Prestigiu Como and taken out.
Just have a look at that. Keep their head out of the way, please. I think that's probably a free kick to Ben Reid.
Both ruck and bump into each other. Cox, it was touched, got the kick away. Johnson waiting for it, can take it over if he wants to. They've been attacking this game though, Collingwood. Kennedy dives in. Ebert from the pocket. He tries to spin one through, and the banana doesn't bend behind.
Well, nice goal, Jason. He got that bend on. It'll be interesting to see how close that ball actually went, because he looked at it, sized it up.
Yeah, it's degree of difficulty very high, and that unfortunately, that's how most of their shots on goal are coming.
Yeah.
Bryan, Shaw, Dawes. Sorry, Beams, Long. Pendlebury, off his hands. Lynch, Embley. Backtrack, Shepherd.
That's why you've got to love Collingwood, Jason, because they set their game up from pressure, from hard pressure all over the game, set it, and then they attack after they can set that pressure up.
Wellingham, little shimmy. Blair got it up in the end. Handball back. Jolly's already got a couple. Spins his way through traffic and kicks a gem. He's got 3.
start of this game we said the only way West Coast Eagles are going to have any sort of chance is if their ruckmen dominate and control the game. Well, it's been the exact opposite story. Darren Jolly with 3 goals has dominated around in the centre bounce with his tap work. He's been outstanding. I mean, this is not really a ruckman's goal. It's more of an opportunistic goal coming in being in the right position. But this is showing athleticism and a bit of nimbleness that you don't expect. But where was his man in Dean Cox?
If you judge a player's game by the quality of his opposition, you have to judge Darren Jolly's 3-goal first half pretty highly.
Well, they've had 8 possessions each, Jolly and Cox, but Jolly has pushed forward and kicked 3 goals.
And he's rucking, I think, better as well. His tap work's better than Cox. And he's rucking 1 out at the moment against Nat Nui and Cox.
He knocked that straight to Wellingham, but Shepherd cut it off. Selwood, wide, Dalziel. Quarterback going backward. Back to Adam Selwood. Touched off the boot, and Goldsack thumps it toward the line. It doesn't travel out. Critis caught. Got it up just in time. Strike runs into ball. Fended him off. Selwood dropped in that tackle by Tuvey. Ball knocked on towards Lockyer and taken out. 45 points the margin.
It's interesting the ruck contest too, because it's the one position on the ground that you're not dictated by where the game's at, because it's so often it's man on man in these sort of contests, and you can tell who's winning a contest.
Nat Nui got the palm to that. Swan. Dalziel had him half held, not enough to pay a free. McKinley as a hold. It's Lacroix's ball against Harry O'Brien. In fact, it's Kennedy's ball. They were both held. Just a matter of which one got the free. And Kennedy's kicking a goal. It's been superb until tonight. It's been very shaky tonight.
I'm not sure how the free kick was his, I'm sorry.
That's why I thought it was Lacroix. The dance, the goal, and some momentum.
It'll be very interesting to have a look at that again, Jason.
I struggled to find where Prestigiacomo was actually holding Kennedy. Kennedy had both arms around him.
Look, Lacroix freed. Lacroix and O'Brien. Yeah, that's not a free.
Josh Kennedy end up with that?
Maybe where the umpire is, he's in front of that contest. Maybe he was holding his arm around the top or around the front. That's all I can diagnose, because where the umpire was in front of the contest.
We might need a different angle to have a look at this. Now, Prestigiacomo may be holding the right arm, but Kennedy's got both arms around Presti, so that to me is play on.
Fair to say they need a little bit of luck, though.
Well, it's 3 goals apiece in the second term, so at least they're holding their own now, West Coast.
Absolutely. Dalziel. Across the ground. Rosa. Go in with their confidence back at a half-time. Lacroix, 3 grabs.
It's a terrific mark at flat-out speed.
They can cut this back to 30 points. High to the goal square. Off hands. And behind. 38 points as it stands right now with 3 minutes as Lacroix takes the 3 grabber.
It's an excellent mark. I'm not sure he had
off the shoulder.
A lot to do with it, under his shoulder twice. How many marks you take on the shoulder, Josh?
Probably a few.
Nat Nui.
You need that luck.
You take any like that?
No. This guy's a freak.
I don't think your hair was ever like that either. Nick Nat Nui.
Hey, I had hair, dude.
No, under that helmet.
Long and it was luxurious.
Luxurious.
And flowing. And awesome.
What does luxurious hair look like?
Nat Nui. This is luxurious. Runs inside 50. Heads toward goal, and the kick not so good. Lacroix nearly made it okay. Little toe poke. Couldn't get back onto it. Beans to shore. Davis in a one-on-one. Embley almost the grab. Davis hassles just as hard. Dalziel got it from Pritis. Gives it to Waters. Heads back in the Kennedy direction. No free. Lacroix again. Spins it around the body and bounces it through. Not touched. Back to 32 points.
Second miracle goal, Mark Lacroix.
Great goal, great bounce, but I'd like to see, I think there's a free kick to Heath Shaw a bit earlier. We got crashed into the ground. Got to say, this bloke's worked very hard in the quarter. See, Heath Shaw, if that's not a free kick, I don't know what is. But this bounce, it is an amazing bounce, and Luke Ball's not the tallest player on the team, but managed to get over the top of him. I've liked Lacroix's quarter. He's worked really hard after Harry O'Brien had the better of him in the first quarter and helped get West Coast back in the game. And you can hear the umpire saying that he's sure they're both coming from opposite directions. It doesn't matter you come from opposite directions. You still can't jump into a bloke's back, can you?
No.
Big 90 seconds coming up here. Nat Nui knocks it down. Collingwood look like they got the 4 points wrapped up. We might get a game if West Coast can get some confidence that can continue to grow. Wellingham, Johnson, heads long. Anthony back to full forward now after starting in defence. Kenzie, that was a throw. Schofield got away with it. Dalziel, Prentice, Swift. Some space to move. Little chip wide. Selwood to Selwood.
This game's a lot about, for Collingwood, a lot about winning, and it's a must-win game for them. But it's also about guys like Anthony and Leon Davis getting into some form. At the moment, Anthony is not playing a game he would want to show Mick Malthouse he's ready to come back into this team. A couple of kicks out of the back line that have gone to the opposition, and then a missed mark here, one that you really need to take if you want to be the key full forward in a premiership team.
Cloak. They're on track to win the quarter, at least, the West Coast. 32-point margin right now. It was 39 points at quarter time. It's a little wide. And not out on the full. And kept in. Embley, Wilkes, gang tackle by 3. That's ball. So 17 seconds left. Umpire calls time off with 16 on the clock. Lockyer plays on. Heads to the pocket. Beam's got a touch on it. Brown, Cloak, nearly took it out, kept it alive. Anthony caught, back to Brown. He hacks it towards goal. Daisy Thomas.
He thinks he kicked it, Thomas.
He thought he kicked it.
So
I thought he kicked it. Field umpire thinks he kicked it. He grabbed it in front of the line and kicked it over the line.
Controversy. We've got to have a look at this because it looked like a goal. Daisy Thomas thinks it's a goal. The field umpire thinks it's a goal.
Having said that, he's in perfect position, the field umpire. What he's saying is by the time the boot hit the ball, it was over the line.
I reckon it's got a bit of Germany versus England in the Soccer World Cup about it, Jason. It's a goal from mine.
You think we need video technology?
Well, why not?
Well, it was a goal for mine. It was a goal for his. But for the sake of the game, it ain't one. 33 points the margin at a half-time. 9-7-61 to the West Coast. 4-4-28.
Field umpire that can consult with a goal umpire that can consult with both boundary umpires. You'd think between 3 or 4 of them, they should get close to the right decision.
Second half underway. Nat Nui with a perfect palm down, although cut off by Dane Beams. And we'll get another ball up.
Do we read anything into the fact that Nat Nui's starting and Dean Cox is on the bench at the beginning of this third term, Hurdy?
Well, Smitty, is Cox look injured or is it just out of form, you think?
No, he doesn't look injured. He ran to the bench. He looks fine. I just think they're throwing Nat Nui into the big stage, I think, and just to see how he goes in his second half.
There's no doubt Darren Jolly's had the better of Dean Cox in the first half, so try something different.
You've got your free kick, right?
So Adam Selwood, who won a free kick, then gave some abuse, just got a warning. Take your free and be happy with it.
I think he said that's the second time you've said it to me.
Lynch. Good pluck.
I dare say if Adam Selwood goes a third time, he might be penalised. But that is a great contested mark to Alistair Lynch. That would have been a handy one. Who was, incidentally, Alistair Lynch just elevated to icon status in the Tasmanian AFL Hall of Fame. There's the free kick for holding against Wellingham. He just had one arm tied up.
Big kick this to continue the momentum for the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, that's a bad miss.
That's a terrible miss, and gets his hands on the ball up forward, gives your team confidence. Just can't miss goals like that.
You're right there, Josh.
7 goals, 9 for the season now for Quentin Lynch. So in the worst part of 50-50.
And we'll pass on our congratulations to Alistair Lynch,
Absolutely.
because he even kept it quiet. I had to read it in the paper this morning.
Well, he's always been an icon to us.
Well, he has, but that's a wonderful tribute.
Jolly, 3 goals in the opening half for Collingwood. The leading goal scorer on the ground goes for a gallop. Beams, Swan,
Mucking around with it a little bit.
Reid, Swan, boundary line, out of play.
That's better pressure from the West Coast Eagles.
Much better. Collingwood trying to get it at this other side of the ground with that Harry O'Brien free on the wing and transfer the play. But the West Coast Eagles keeping it on that side of the ground and condensing the play. Chance for them to win the ball back.
Selwood caught high, gets another free. There'll be no abuse for that one. Prentice played on too quickly. Shepherd floats it toward the pocket. Kennedy got there and didn't get a touch on it before it was out of play. He took the Cra over the fence with him.
I reckon he was a little bit unlucky there, Mark LeCras. Harry O'Brien didn't have his eyes on the footy. He had his back to it, and he had his hands all over Mark LeCras.
And he wins the free for out on the full. Gets a kick. Nat Nui and Jolly, the umpires and players still arguing behind plate.
And we just heard the umpire explain, if you weren't holding him, you would have got the free.
Lynch from 60. LeCras, O'Brien hits the behind post after the hand. It'll be a ball in.
So the umpire saying, yes, he was holding you, but you were also holding him.
West Coast doing a very good job of not letting Collingwood get the ball out of their back line. Collingwood very good in the first quarter half of doing that.
Nat Nui roved his own ruck work, still going hard. Stolen by Johnson. A bounce pass to Shaw. Lockyer gets the skates on and Waters with the big fist.
Inside 50s now 26 apiece, after 18-7 at quarter time.
Very good. What West Coast can't do is they don't have the kicking ability to put it down a forward straight like Collingwood do and capitalise on those inside 50.
Nat Nui to Selwood again. LeCras inside 50. That's a free. So he wins this one.
He has
was
worked
right on the spot.
He has worked extremely hard, LeCras, since the first quarter to get on top of Harry O'Brien. No doubt Harry O'Brien had the better of him in the first quarter. You can see the strength and just the desire to get in front and win that free kick.
And if you joined us late, Collingwood led by 39 points at quarter time. This kick to cut the margin back to 26. Wilkes and Brown.
Huge kick for the context of the game and for West Coast Eagles.
Kicked 2 goals in the second term. Mark LeCras missed it. Still alive, and Ebert. Mark in the pocket.
You wonder how that happens, don't
I was
you?
going to say, if you're Mick Malthouse sitting up in the box right now, you would have every right to go berserk.
Well, Darren Jolly was back with Dean Cox. I think they were heading back to the centre square.
Hasn't been the most reliable kick in the team this year. He slots it, and they're on the way.
You made the point, Jason, that how does that happen? How tall would Ebert be?
6 foot.
6 foot. He's got guys around him, Collingwood players around him who are at least as tall, if not taller than him. And an easy, it's not even a contested mark almost. He almost marks it, I suppose it is contested with players around him, but no one's spoiling. When even Heath Shaw didn't really try and punch the ball hard. It was a terrific mark by Ebert. Have his eyes on the ball. Collingwood defenders be very disappointed in their effort, though. You wouldn't have predicted this score at quarter time, Dwayne. The way the West Coast Eagles have come back is credit to them. But you'd have to think that Collingwood would get back into game mode after a poor quarter.
Cox back into the ruck. Ball gets a handball out. Thomas from the wing. Straight into the hands of Cloak.
It's a beautiful kick from Dale Thomas.
Plays on quickly. Top of the square. Somehow Lockyer was on his own. So just as the West Coast were doing everything right to eat into this lead, Collingwood get a soft one here.
You know, I thought there was an opportunity there for Schofield to leave his man. He's in the goal square on Dawes.
Yeah.
I reckon he needed to track the footy and say at one stage, look, I've got to leave my man and go at Lockyer.
And make it as hard a kick as possible for Cloak.
Already kicked one tonight, Tarkin Lockyer. Collingwood hunting down top spot on the ladder tonight. They're on track to get there.
Look, a terrific kick by Dale Thomas set this goal up. Kicked it down Cloak's throat. and then Cloak able to get back and see Lockyer free. That's a nice kick by Cloak too. Not an easy kick over the top of defenders, weighted perfectly, and Lockyer, eyes on the ball, takes a mark under pressure, and then slots through a goal from 15 metres out. From a Collingwood point of view, it's a goal they needed. That West Coast were getting themselves back into the game and had owned the play. Good goal for Collingwood.
Mark and Lockyer by Waters, strapped up like Maori's idol. He's got the knee brace, the shoulder brace, the elbow brace.
Can you take me through before you start to know the people?
Maori's idol. I'll have to talk you through that one for a while. Little tie up in the middle. Remember the Penthouse Club and the Trots. Jason, remember the Trots?
The champion trot on Maori's idol.
It was always strapped up. I'll try and pick a more contemporary trotter for you next time, Eddie.
He's just a young bloke.
Have a pale-face adios next time.
Village kid, pure
Pritis,
steel.
if you like. Schofield out to McGinnity. Oh, he missed Pritis. Forced to mop up that mess. Tries to shuffle it out. Didak does. Tuvey, Jolly, Thomas. Here they go again. Davis working hard. Gets into the hole. Takes the mark. Is that 50? No.
Thomas's man there got sucked into the play, and that's why he had that space. Interesting that the Collingwood spread around the pack was a lot better than West Coast.
Hands it off to Thomas. Oh, makes the angle a little worse. Gives it to Davis, who was in the same spot he was before. Cloak. There's strength.
That is just plain and simply too strong.
Hands it off, and Pendlebury on the left.
Great kick from Leon Davis, though.
Yeah, he off one step, he just said, well, I can see the contest I want to kick it to, and I know Travis Cloak is strong enough to hold his man off, and I'll just kick it a couple of metres in front of him. Dale Thomas tried to sell the biggest piece of candy there you've ever seen,
Look at this kick.
and McKenzie wasn't buying it.
Slotted in front of his man, knowing his man's strength, great, and then Pendlebury gets the easiest of goals, but smart play by Leon Davis. And Dale Thomas, terrific start in the quarter.
Surprised, Wayno, to see the goal kicker on the bench. Now, did Travis Cloak hand pass that because Pendlebury was going to kick an easy goal, or because he didn't want to take the set shot?
Didn't want to take the set shot.
Selwood, another one.
Would you handball the ball 15 metres out from goal?
Absolutely.
You would not.
Cox heads wide. Swift, he dropped it. Hands it off to Eben. Dalziel thought about going inside with a handball. Here's Philip Cra in the pocket. Kickable by his standards from there.
Continues to work hard, doesn't he?
Yep.
Just presents, he reads the play very well, Mark LaCroix. That's why he's always in action, always where the ball is. Big banana here.
From the gutter. Holding it for the banana. Gets it to move. Just to the near side.
That's the thing with the banana is there's no margin for error at all. You have to hit it perfectly to go through the goals.
It's hard to kick long ones too, like that.
Yeah.
Ball. A little untidy with the handball, but Swan made it look okay. Reed from half-back. McGinnity backs back. Punch down on Goldsack. Little handball over the top. Put Davis from Dane Beams. Inside 50 to Dawes. And Dawes can go back and line up for his third.
Is that the kick's a fantastic kick, but does the West Coast Eagles player need to get the right side of Dawes, or just Dawes not have the strength to get in the right position?
Mind you, it's the hardest kick to defend is the one coming over the top as you're running back towards goal. He's doing everything right, Schofield, because he's in front position. That's all you can do.
You've got to make it the hardest kick possible.
And that was a perfect kick.
Hardest,
Good night at the office so far for Chris Dawes. One goal in each quarter. Bends that back. He's got one in the third now, and the margin punts back out to 43.
And suddenly Collingwood had their break back again and just threw three very quick goals and terrific fast movement of the ball. But the last two goals are from exquisite kicks from Leon Davis. The first one put it on the Cloak, out in front of Cloak to take the mark. This one out in front of Dawes, who had the strength to beat Schofield. Talking about was Schofield in the right spot. Yes, he was, but that kick really just didn't give him any chance at all. And talk about Leon Davis being out of form, not with kicks like that. Chris Dawes' 3 goals, making it very hard for John Anthony to get his spot back at full forward.
Well, in fact, Anthony's playing at the other end of the ground. He played there in the VFL last week, so maybe he reinvents himself as a defender.
Swan with the clearance. Willingham, Beams, they were both there. Rosa slapped that out. Shepherd tracked down by Dane Beams. Goldsack just overran it. Willingham shuffled a handball out. Umpire said play on, but they'll get the ball thrown in.
I think the key for players like Dawes and also for Jack Anthony is make a spot wherever you can find one, because there are a lot of players knocking on the door. We know O'Brien and Medhurst and Fraser were running around in the VFL today. Make the most of your opportunities if you want to play in the finals in this Collingwood team.
Schofield dumped.
Great thing from a Collingwood point of view when you talk about those players not being in the side, isn't it? And still being possibly on top of the ladder at the end of tonight, or they will be at the end of tonight on top of the ladder with that quality of player not in their team.
Priddis and ball dive in. Priddis drags it in, then throws it back out again. There's your explanation. 2 sets of hands on it. West Coast Eagles have never won a wooden spoon. Their worst season in club history, 15th in 2008. They are a chance to win one. If they lose tonight, Richmond could win tomorrow, and they could be bottom of the AFL ladder. Anthony slung as he got the handball out. Tackle on ball. Holding the ball. So strike rewarded. Collingwood flooding players back. 14 minutes gone, 3rd term. Embley. Scott Selwyn. He took the sideways step. Called to play on. Embley thumps it long in hope. Big fly, but couldn't mark it. Thomas. Wobbly kick in the Davis direction. McGinnity lets that roll out. It hasn't been a huge night yet for Leon Davis, but there he is working hard again. 8 possessions.
He's kicked behind, but he's had a couple of assists, and he's certainly working hard.
Stark contrast to when these two teams met last year, though, when he had 32 possessions and kicked 3 goals. An awesome year last year. Tooby got it from Swan, gives to Brown, and now they're away. Goldsack or Shaw. Shaw collects it. Goldsack calls him on. Says, I'll give you a Shepherd. Short pass, Cloak. A long way out. Umpire talking to the player on the mark. Cloak plays on quickly and bangs a long behind.
I can't for the life of me work out, if you're going to play on, why play on 5 metres left of the mark and get closer to the boundary and reduce your angle? He's better off having the set shot from where the mark was.
Yep. Sensational crowd in here that he had tonight. Collingwood fans have flooded to this stadium. They don't play many home games here. Shaw, Beams.
I don't know how many times we've seen Dane Beams in the corridor in the attacking 50 on his own. I think that's the 3rd time tonight the ball's fallen in his hands.
Well, he just didn't follow the ball out with his opposition, was left free. It's poor marking by the West Coast Eagles.
The Collingwood Army's in full flight this year, Dwayne, and I think they've got high hopes come September.
Well, they are one of the most watchable teams in the competition as well. They're not playing for a nil-all scoreline. They're kicking some good numbers. They'll be top tonight. Dane Beams takes some time. Kick one to this end of the opening term. That was never in doubt. 50 points the margin.
Another goal from the turnover for Collingwood, and West Coast Eagles continue to give the ball back to Collingwood after a good start to the quarter and a number of shots at goal and more possession. We see from the kick out, it's turned over, and then Beams is just left free in the forward 50. It's interesting to see how that can happen, Jason. I know you're trying to work the ball out. I know you think you've got to go one way, but you've got to man up and make sure you got your man covered.
Finished 4th in the NAB Rising Star voting last year, Dane Beams, and is arguably having the best follow-up season of any of last year's 22 NAB Rising Star nominees. A couple of those have finished above him, injured, Kate Pears and Andy Otten, but it's having another good year. Pritis, the handball out, Swift caught, and Didak, Swift from the centre. Lockyer, manhandled by Waters. No free, got away with it. Wilkes, not out of trouble yet though. Adam Silver, half back. Collingwood fans get a boo going. Swift again. Not so Swift though. Caught. Shaw on the rebound over the head of Lockyer. Silwood, McGinnity. Oh, he ran into Jolly. Was having an outstanding night. No prior opportunity according to the umpire, but not according to the fans. Listen to that.
I'm not sure how that's not a free kick.
Head ripped off. He was pushing back in the man, but you can't grab them. And then Darren Jolly, what a tackle.
Rosa slides into it. Caught. Got it up. Pritis.
And this is where they break down. They give the ball back far too often.
Shepherd. Short. McKinley. Having a quiet night. Rosa. Trying to build something. Inside 50, Ebert the target again. Got a hand to it. Tooby's fist wins out, and Dale Thomas's speed wins out. Back to Tooby, and they're away. Long kick from Dawes. Cloak lets it go beautifully for Swan.
Terrific play by Cloak. Not only let it go, but he just pushed
Davis. That's a free. Sorry, Hurdy, I saw Davis sprint faster than I've seen him sprint for weeks.
That's fine. I was just saying, Cloak, he held his ground, but pushed the man under the ball and let Swan take the mark. But the ability for Collingwood to turn deep defence into attack is incredible. Dale Thomas got the ball back. We see Cloak holding his man out, leaving it for Swan. But Dale Thomas got the ball in the back pocket. In 30 seconds, Leon Davis has got the ball in his hands, having a shot for goal. Terrific transition, running and play from the Collingwood Football Club.
Nothing subtle about the attempted score from Nick Naitanui. I thought he was nearly close enough to go the ball. He just took out Leon Davis. He's having a breather, Leon. He's enjoying the 20 seconds to recover.
I think he's used the full 30 now. Coach says it's not all about kicking the goals, but every player knows it's nice to kick one or two. They still kick none tonight. Pritis. Played 20 minutes. We've ticked into time on third term. 51-point margin, the biggest lead of the game. Waters.
Oh, that's for a 1 or 2
John.
position ruckman.
How many times have West Coast done that in this game? Kicked it to the opposition coming out of defence.
It's hard to work out what system or style of play they're looking to develop, Hurdy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brown gives it off. Didak, it's his forte. He threads the eye of a needle in a haystack.
You're going to love watching Alan Didak play. I mean, the goal came from a turnover. Darren Jolly, terrific mark. But just the pure skill to see Jolly kicking it in. Watch Didak run to the right side of the ball. Yeah, the ball comes out, but this kick for goal is not easy. And he slots it through, makes it look like he could do it in a Sunday picnic. Terrific skill from Alan Didak, and that's why people love to come and watch Alan Didak play. He's a great player, his work rate's fantastic, his skill is sensational.
It's amazing how hard they work at training now on those kicks players. They have the ability to make the ball bend from the most acute angles, and they do make some impossible goals look very simple.
That was brilliant to watch again from Didak to Jolly. Thomas, there they go again. They're inspired. Short kick from Swan. No mark. They could have raffled that. Kick around the corner was okay from Blair. Was having a good first game. Still under siege. Blair goes back in with Brown. McKinney almost out on the full.
On the boundary line there when Blair got it, I thought Didak was going to grab the ball. He actually left it for Blair.
He did. He might have called him out.
It happened back a few years ago, Jason. Senior player gets rite of passage, don't they?
Jolly with the slap down. Selwood, no free there. Didak gets the kick off the deck. He does it again.
He won the ball in the middle of the ground, Alan Didak, but got the ball down and almost got it back from Swan, almost got from Blair, and then involves himself again. He's having a fantastic 5 minutes. You've got to say it's lucky, but a guy like Alan Didak with his soccer skills, I reckon he probably meant it.
Did Bo Waters get a toenail on it?
Ooh, goal.
He thinks he did.
Alan Didak has every reason to be hands on knees because he's worked super hard in the last 5 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes off for a bit of a spell very shortly.
Not signed for next year just yet, Alan Didak. But it's only a matter of time, he says. He won't leave Collingwood. He just wants maybe a 3-year deal rather than a 2.
Keeps building a reasonable highlights reel too, Dwayne.
Absolutely. Here's Blair again to Didak for 3 in 3 minutes. Didak sets it up. There's an absolute frenzy that Eddie had.
Now, your rule, Jason, about people coming off after each goal, he's just blowing that the smithereens and he still won't come off. We'll have to change that rule, but 3 goals in 3 minutes. This guy is a star, there's no doubt. He's had his troubled times over the last few years, but the player he is now is just sensational. And that move, Jason, better than any outswinger you could ever bowl.
When you're hot, Dwayne. And this is why you don't take players off after they kick a goal, because they can get on a roll. And that's what we've just seen Didak do.
I've got some bad news for you. Rowan Smith.
Sorry, Dwayne. I just watched the Collingwood runner. Didak was going to come off. He was just about to run off, and the runner went out to him and said, "Mate, stay on. You're on fire. You might as well stay on."
Absolutely. Not before time either, Smithy.
Free kick to Collingwood in the middle. Didak stays on. Pendlebury with the free. Heads wide. Can he make it 4 in 4 minutes, Didak? Anthony short. Swan. Jolly having a brilliant game.
Might get it again here.
Sets it up. Wellingham off hands. Embley caught by Davis. There's another one of those tackles inside 50. He's number 1 in the AFL this year. Leon Davis for them. And he brings this one to a ball up.
That's why you've got to love coming to the football and watch players like Alan Didak when they're hot, because they are very special in what they do. Skill level sensational, and just do some amazing stuff.
Well, Didak calling for ball. He couldn't handle it and give it to him. Gives him a pat anyway. Says, "I know you were going to give it to me."
Well, the simple fact is, it's been an ordinary game, but the last 5 minutes of Alan Didak has made it worth coming to watch.
Definitely.
There you see him just getting told by the runner to stay out there. Thank goodness. The guy is entertaining.
Cox gave it up. Gave it straight to the man of the moment, Jared Blair. Having an outstanding first game. Cloak thumps it long. Anthony can't get a jump at it. Cox does. Anthony stayed down with Swan. They could raffle it. Swan pulls out the winning ticket.
They can certainly smell blood out of the Collingwood Footy Club. You get all their smaller players, their skillful midfielders are trying to get forward for a goal. Whether it be Swan, whether it be Didak, whether it be Pendlebury, they can smell a goal, and they're getting to the feet of the packs. This one could have been John Anthony's, but Dane Swan slips in there. Great recovery from the contest, and this guy just keeps getting better. Collingwood have broken the rule totally, Josh.
Well, it's 8 goals to 1 in the third quarter. This is probably what we feared was going to happen in the second quarter. West Coast found some resistance, but it's been blown out the gate this time, hasn't it?
Well, they've kicked the last 8, and they've kicked them so quickly, you couldn't possibly rotate your goal kickers that quickly. O'Brien lurking to gather this. Little tap down. Should kick wide from Shaw. Ugly, but not deliberate. We'll get a ball in. 111 plays 36. 75-point margin, biggest lead of the game. And it looks like being a massive blowout. Little ruck contest, Brown and Nui. Dane Beams. Once again, Blair. This time he got it from Ball. Gives it to Lockyer. Pass on and Jolly. Kicked 3 goals tonight. Can't make it 4 here. McKenzie, Wilkes, Selwood. Thomas attacks him, makes this a contest. Wilkes wide. Waters. Lockyer corrals him. Lynch. 5 minutes from 3/4 time. And 3/4 time can't come quickly enough for the West Coast. Swift, Marston, Moroza. Bouncing ball, Anthony attacks him. McKenzie makes it somebody else's problem. Off hands, sure. Here they go again. The backtrack, Goldsack. Lee Brown. Willingham's got a couple to beat here. Schofield with the fist. Knocks it back, McGinnity. Lockyer hunted him down, went for the hips. Embley floats it. McKinley can't get there in time to attempt the mark. And the ball out of play.
And that's the sort of usage of the ball that's going to hurt you as a West Coast team. They need to be a little bit more poised in the way they move the ball in the forward line. Their opportunities, their inside 50s aren't that far behind Collingwood, but just the way Collingwood move the ball is more effective.
Nat Nui with a palm down towards Ebert, overran it. Strike, short, back of the pack. Free kick to Cox.
Advantage. Oh, surely.
I'm not sure they're going to pay it.
They're not.
Nope.
Sean, swap
Waved
now, mate,
off.
while the ball's down there.
Does he interfere with Dean Cox?
It's been Reid.
Endeavouring to punch the ball. I think it's a little bit harshly treated.
To stop this run of 8 Collingwood goals in a row. Cox gets some boos. Bends it back from the near side, but not enough. And Collingwood looking at a massive scoreline at the moment. 17 goals, 9. Didak finally gets that rest. Shaw heads wide. Goldsack, Beams, Dale Thomas having another good game, a good season. Tooby likewise takes the mark. This is the only time these two teams meet this year. Malthouse has complained they haven't met too many of the bottom teams this year. Davis, handballs along the line. Embley lets it roll out. But Collingwood in this current run, they play the West Coast tonight obviously, and Port Adelaide and Richmond in 2 of their next 3 as well. So they get a run of lower placed teams, Collingwood. They can set up their season with wins in all of them and maybe top 2, if not top spot, a possibility.
So that, definitely. That's that tough draw Nick was talking about.
That's the one, yes. And if you didn't know, Collingwood has their last 7 games all at the MCG this home and away season.
How could the AFL do that to them?
So next week's the last time they travel.
Come on.
Stay.
And the West Coast Eagles on the other side of the coin. Collingwood playing Port Adelaide at Amy next week. West Coast play Adelaide at Subiaco next week, and wins like gold to the Eagles with that wooden spoon lurking. Ball wrapped up. Dragged down. No prior
What they
opportunity.
are
Ball
doing,
up.
Collingwood, is they're just confirming their status as one of the bona fide challengers of 2010. They do have claims this year, the way they're playing, the way they don't rely on 1 or 2 players. They are a very strong team right across the board.
Nat Nui to the wing.
That is Collingwood's greatest strength, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their strength across the board.
Shaw thumps it back. Dawes couldn't get a jump at it. And the ball across the line.
But like every team in that top 4 or top sort of 6 position, they need to improve as well. They need to get better over the next 8 to 9 weeks coming into finals to have a chance at, the ultimate glory.
Too high on Wilkes, and you wouldn't think that's reportable.
No, he backed out.
Yeah.
Backed out, Luke Ball.
And he heads back. Of course, John Worsfold did guarantee 2 weeks ago that the West Coast would not win their first wooden spoon. There's always an ominous guarantee to give.
Well, I think it was a nice show of confidence for his players more than anything, but it is the sort of statement that can come back and haunt you.
Kinsey to Schofield. Waters arm thump there from Dale Thomas. Wins by Waters a free. He's the hottest West Coast player in the past month, though. Waters, 33, 27, 29 possessions his last 3 games, so they knew they had to stop him tonight, Collingwood. Swift. And for the record, Waters just 11 possessions to this point of the game tonight. Shepherd to Rosa. Good opportunity here, although the handball misses Embley. Forced to go back and get it. Kicks it, goal from 55, goal square, misses.
The handball need to be better, or they need to find a kick inside 50 to set someone up for a shot at goal, rather than putting Embley under pressure to kick from outside 50. Not a huge percentage chance of kicking a goal under pressure with that far out.
Brian short, Beams.
Collingwood will be quite content to kick it around and move it around till 3/4 time. This might be a bit far, this kick.
Out on the full. Swan marked it over the line. Strike. 1 minute 12 left on the clock to 3/4 time. Both teams be happy with a breather. Centering ball. Selwood flies, can't take the second grab. Play almost a call as Reid tried to get a handball out. Pendlebury, Didak working hard in defence now. Wellingham pushed, got a handball off Shaw, back to Wellingham, and it opens up for Collingwood, although they may turn it over here. Ball knocked down through the legs. Little shuffle out, Wellingham, after Anthony had some hands on it. Hacks it forward, 40 seconds left. Huge grab, Cloak, inside 50.
He's had 14 possessions, Travis Cloak, and he's also taken 9 marks. He does have a beautiful set of hands.
Yeah, he'd like to kick a goal though, Joe.
What he hasn't done is convert, Hurdy, you're right. He's kicked one behind, he's given another one off. He's missed with 1 or 2 other shots completely, so needs this for his own confidence.
Most of his shots have been from about 50 metres tonight. Doesn't make it easier. And this one from just outside the paint. Likes it off the boot. Sits a little. Huge grab. Wasn't in time.
Let him mark it.
Jolly's taken the mark, surely.
Fouling has gone.
Oh, no.
So you can't foul it all.
No, he's giving him the mark. He's giving him the mark.
Thankfully.
I thought the same as you, Dwayne, that he hadn't been paid the mark because it was after the siren. But that is a terrific mark and leap. Darren Jolly having a terrific game. Quite a quarter, quite a third quarter, but 3 goals. This could be his 4th.
Little banana.
He's got 3.
And you don't need to run back this far, do you?
He's not allowed to run around, as you heard. Banana, beautiful. Collingwood, awesome tonight. They'll be top of the ladder tonight. The Saints and the Cats still to play tomorrow. But they are irrepressible. 18-9, 117, the 5-8-38, and we've got a quarter left.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that once Maxwell comes back, there will be a spot for him back there.
And the way Dawes is playing, he's got that spot locked up forward.
Yeah, but there's always going to be injuries in the team, so you have to keep yourself ready, and hopefully a spot opens up.
Final term underway. Critis trying to extract a clearance, can't.
Interesting that Leon Davis has gone into the middle too in this last term, just starting up around the ball. Try and get him a little bit more involved, although he's had 10 possessions, he's been constructive.
Matt Nui tries the reach on Brown. Swan. Davis working hard behind the ball. Floats it up to Johnson. He's got Pendlebury. Needs to be a good kick. It is.
And it almost looked like their Dane Swan held the ball up so Leon could get it, to give it to him. That's a terrific play to get him into the game, give him confidence.
Beams almost. McGinnity does give it up. Embley's handball. Not of that flash.
Look at Blair. Oh, stole it.
Jared Blair has played the kind of game that might see him play another one next week. Still side bottom, the late exclusion for Collingwood. Johnson, run down. Lynch gets the handball up just in time. Strike. Bounce pass. Marston back into the team this week. It's been a tough night at the office for him. Short pass, Swan to Pendlebury. Cloak's short. He might go longer. Dawes in the goal square. Beams will do. Inside 50. Burns off McGinnity. And this is
Did that well, Scott Pendlebury.
Yep.
He had time and space, and he knew he could run and carry. He just had to draw the Eagles defender so that he could go with the hand pass over the top, and that would release Beams. Unfortunately, Beams on that occasion just couldn't finish, but they're pretty much doing as they please now, the Pies.
Margin has hit 80 points. Nat Nui, Brown, Swan jumped for it, couldn't mark it. Schofield got a handball through. So Selwood, Marston, strike. To half forward.
Got a loose player in McKinley.
And should get onto this. Anthony runs back with a flight. And he holds him up there. It's nearly 50. Sure you can do that.
Might have hurt himself too, Jack Anthony. He's done something, maybe a groin, the way he was holding it there, but...
Well, he got a boot in the knee.
50?
I don't know. You can see why he did it.
Otherwise, he runs into an
in the 50.
I thought the rule was you couldn't grab a guy after he marked it. But
Bit of sympathy, maybe.
80-point lead, giving them the benefit of the doubt. He needs one for his confidence, and he hasn't got one. Ben McKinley.
He's pretty sore, though. There's the knee. There's the foot in the knee, which I reckon that's what it was. But he's pretty sore, and he's limping around. Give him a few minutes to run it off and maybe get the blood circulating again.
O'Brien. Goldsack.
He's going to come off, I think.
O'Brien. High to the wing. Thomas!
Love have his flare back, Jason.
Didak over the top. Beams. Nat Nui tracks him down. Got one a little high. Back to Didak. Back to Thomas. Davis. Low trajectory kick. Tough one to grab. Lockyer made it okay. Centering ball. Dalziel backs back.
Trainer had a long chat, or the runner had a long chat with Jack Anthony, but he has stayed out there, but he is dead set moving like a wounded impala at the moment.
Well, if I was Jack Anthony, if there's any way I could stay out there, I would.
Out.
He's playing for his spot on the side.
He gets it on cue and spears it to Cloak. Just got a hand on it, Embley. Cloak still hot on their hammer. McKenzie, he gave that to Embley. Wilkes, half-back flank. Ebert forced to work for it, missed him. Nat Nui, Marston, under siege with everything they do. Davis runs back onto it to set it up again. Bounce pass to Beams. Johnson out wide. No pass options. Sits it up for Thomas. Gets the skates on. Gets there, can't mark it. Might bounce back onto it. Shepherd, McKinney, Dalziel. It's actually a good game to watch, regardless of the 79-point margin.
Don't worry about the score, just watch the contest.
In fact, we might be better off taking the score down. Wide to Lacroix. Shaw missed it. Brown jumps onto it. Back to Shaw. He bounces it.
What's that?
A couple of handballs
tough for Jared Blair.
Shaw, which I reckon he'd take back. One in the goal square, one in the forward defence 50, which West Coast did a goal out of that one, which went to nobody.
Selwood to McKinley, not paid the mark. Anthony looks okay now, got that one up.
Plenty of space out the side. There's three Collingwood players out here.
Ball.
Let it go long to Thomas.
Well, Collingwood's biggest win ever over the West Coast Eagles is 100 points. It currently stands at 79. Cloak might add to that. Little push. Feeds back onto it. Pocket. Gets a snap. Smothered. Off hands. Dawes had hands on it. Free kick for being leg. Play on advantage. Bang! Goldsack came hard. Knocked it away from McKinley. Wellingham. Pendlebury shoots it wide. Shaw scoots inside. One way then the other. Pokes it up high. Nat Nui with the leap. Plucks it.
The game's lost a bit of structure, Jason, hasn't it? It's just run and kick and run and kick.
Everyone's just chasing their own bit of footy.
Nat Nui. That's caught. Almost through that. Scott Selwood caught. Dalziel. Marston. Half a fumble. Hacks a kick away. Jolly just on. He's been the king tonight.
They'll work it across the other side of the ground to Dane Swan and try and get some run.
Swan wide. Dawes hard. Good mark, Critis. Stood in the hole. Knew the traffic was coming.
So 24 possessions, British, Jason.
Barely noticed it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I haven't seen a lot of him, but that mark certainly put his body on the line and stopped Collingwood getting the ball.
Shepherd.
That's reasonably honest of you, Jason. Barely noticed him.
Short. Thumped away. And Collingwood on the rebound here. Shaw, Didak, Dawes. O'Brien. Runs around Wilkes with ease. Lockyer. Collingwood staring at their biggest win of the year. 66 points, their biggest win so far this year against North Melbourne. They lead by 79. Jolly.
Probably not what the massive Collingwood crowd wants to see is the ball going backwards. They want more goals on the board.
Swan to Johnson.
Heathshaw's been running around on his own, trying for the football, and just can't get a teammate to kick it to him. Now Leon Davis is on his own.
Lockyer to O'Brien, who can get and go. Lockyer wants him to go. Davis short. Beans. Kicks it up high and long. Brown. Dawes! Brown was buffeted out of the contest, and Dawes stayed strong.
Yeah, Brown took one with him when he went into the contest, which enabled Dawes to go one-on-one for that mark. But Dawes continues to impress with his strength around the contest and his great hands. Yeah.
In actual fact, Brown
got
took
rid of
out
Wilkes,
Dawes'
yeah.
opponent, which was just perfect.
Wilkes, yeah, he took him out beautifully. And then it's good hands, though, isn't it? Andrew Embley's probably sick of that ball coming in around him. I think every time Collingwood kick a goal, he's very close to the contest.
8th game this year after just 4 games last year and 6 games the year before. Chris Dawes. It's been a long road for him. Can't bend that back enough for number 4. He's picked 28 back in 2006 and spent 07 recovering from complete knee reconstruction. But luck starting to go his way. 80 points the margin. Ton of time left. Shepherd short to Dalziel. Schofield. Davis. Well, he made him handball that in the wrong direction. Blair handballed over the top. Cloak. Davis. Crowd want him to go for goal. He does go for goal. Thomas can't mark. It's fun to watch at the moment, Collingwood. They're taking their chances to have a crack at everything.
Thomas has certainly gone for his fair share of flies tonight and taken a couple and missed a couple, but his entertainment value tonight is right up there.
Swift, Rosa, back to Swift. Bounces, Thomas chases him down, but on the chase. Turnover again, Jolly!
17 possessions and 11 marks for Darren Jolly.
Swan to Thomas again. And he has a breath. Crowd a little hushed. He heads back to Jolly. And Thomas will head off. Pendlebury will come back on.
They're now just playing with us, with everyone, aren't they? They're just kicking the ball around.
Possession 33 for Swan. Went back to Shaw. Bounces across. Half back. John Anthony. O'Brien. And back to Swan. And Burns. And Jolly.
Well, it started a couple of minutes ago, Dwayne.
That's his 3rd mark in that exact spot.
Wellingham jumps in, can't mark. Caught by Pendlebury. Wellingham tries to get it out. Rosa, brilliant tackle by Wellingham. Marston, back to Schofield. Scott Selwood got it from Swift. I suppose it's a little too early in WA to go to bed just yet. Rosa, but they have been comprehensively outplayed tonight, the West Coast, and bordering on embarrassing when players do things like that. Didak inside 50, but McKenzie takes the mark. 11 minutes gone, final term. Everyone makes mistakes, but tonight the West Coast have abused the privilege.
So what do you see as the positives for West Coast, Herdy?
Look, this is interesting play before we get that, Jason. Just a little flick and a kick across by Alan Didak, showing his soccer skills. But Positives for the West Coast Eagles was their second quarter. I think the second quarter they worked really hard. LaCroix got into the game. They started to win the ball and compress Collingwood. But after the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, they've just gone back to their old ways.
Dawes, Lockyer inside, should kick this. Puts it up and it's too wide.
You have to say that the first quarter, most of the third, and this quarter so far have been very disappointing football from the West Coast Eagles.
2 footies on the field of play. Schofield to bring it back in. Shepherd.
This is the area of the ground that West Coast really need to work on, working the ball through the Collingwood defence. Collingwood are almost the best in the competition, stopping the ball getting out of their 50. But West Coast fall the same type. Long kick, Pendlebury, Swan, Jolly just taking marks of these from West Coast kicks. Not good enough from the West Coast Eagles.
Jolly again! Can't bring it down. Davis lurking, tackles Rosa. Didak still working hard. Johnson centering kick. Dawes.
Good use of the body.
If kicking the ball out of your back line is not working, Jason, how would you work it out other than that?
Well, it's not a matter of kicking that's not working. It's the options that they're choosing. I mean, they continue to kick along the contests. Just have a look at Pendlebury here. That's a beauty, reaching across the top of Selwood.
Well, I think you've got to run. I think you've got to use it more by hand to try and break up the Collingwood lines. Little kicks, not predictable 30, 40-metre kicks, but 15-metre kicks, handballs, break up these Collingwood lines, which are just reading the ball too easily.
For number 4, for Chris Dawes. Just a formality. Margin out to 88.
Yet another well-worked goal by Collingwood, but it came from a West Coast Eagles turnover. We might get boring in our comments, but that is what this game's been about, is the West Coast Eagles moving out, kicking it back to Collingwood, and Collingwood working harder when they don't have the ball to get it back. Didak's been terrific tonight. You see the kick come in, and this is terrific body work from Chris Dawes. And as we've said all night, he is making that position his for the rest of the year.
And he gets a rest for kicking 4 goals as well. He's never had a 5-goal game, so it would be nice to get him back on for a milestone. 88 points the margin. And Collingwood could yet have their biggest ever win against the West Coast Eagles. Tackle superb by Pendlebury. Swift, not swift enough. Caught. Marston, Cox. Lynch beats Prestigiacomo, loses a boot. Forced to hand it off to Waters. Chips it. Strike. Marks on 50. Doesn't like his chances. Heads to the goal square. LaCroix flies. Can't mark back of the pack. McKinley. Has he kicked it?
Yep.
Some anaesthetic for the pain.
Well, it was a smart, I'm not sure it was a smart kick or what it was, but it looked like he'd missed from the player's reaction from his intensity to kick it. But a long kick into the forward line, the top of the 50, often works, catches the defence unawares, ball falls smartly, but it's not the chosen kick, Jason, but it goes through, so I suppose you've got to give credit where credit's due, and a goal.
The West Coast Victorian boys, Ben McKinley, the Northern Knights and Old Ivanhoe. 6th goal of the night for the West Coast in a lead night for the West Coast.
That'd be old Collingwood territory, wouldn't it? In the old days, Ivanhoe. Dwayne, wouldn't it?
Talking to a South Australian here from Paraka in the old days. I'm not sure what happened in
Sure, that was
Victoria in the 70s.
Some Collingwood zone.
Nat Nui with a palm. Davis pursues it. Still working hard. Shuffled out. Nat Nui, another possession. Rosa caught by Thomas. Hacks it inside 50. Bounce eludes a couple, but not LaCroix. He eludes everybody, and they get 2 within a minute. LaCroix has 3.
Well, I thought he actually made the wrong decision, Mark McGrath. I thought he had an opportunity to hand pass to a teammate running by, but he obviously had confidence in his ability to evade the Collingwood defence. He picks it up. It was Swift running by, but he said, I can hook this over the shoulder, and he does it very, very nicely. One thing he does know is that he's very good around goals, Mark McGrath. He'll back himself in, and he took the responsibility to kick the goal, and he did just that.
Yeah, he probably had the chance to give the handball, but he's such a classy finisher that he backs himself, and he hasn't had a bad game, Mark McGrath. Got them back in the game in the second quarter. The battle between he and Harry O'Brien at times has been the battle of the night. O'Brien had his chance to run the ball out at certain times, but McGrath has been one of the few players for West Coast who has given a bit of a yelp.
Nat Newey ball dive in. Didak slips it to Pendlebury. Can have the shot from 48. Left foot. Miss.
What if they had a kick stroke?
Which has been a problem for them in recent weeks, but 19-14 doesn't look as bad.
No, not as bad, but I think there's about 4 or 5 goals there that they would have loved to have kicked. Anytime you kick anywhere near 20 goals or over 20 goals, you know you've had a good game.
As we said earlier, or Jason mentioned earlier, as this one heads to Wilkes, percentage not a factor for Collingwood because they have a draw. Unless, of course, they have another draw, and then it does become a factor. But percentage will be a factor for the West Coast, the way they're playing, as O'Brien thumps it across the line. They could win the wooden spoon on percentage. 128-51.
Which have hurt a club like West Coast. I mean, such a proud, strong club. They've been terrific since their inception in the AFL, but they're down as low as they've been for a while, the Eagles, at the moment.
Blair, inside 50, Dawes lurking, slaps it out. Beams, hands and knees. Lockyer shoots it up. Ball, kicks toward goal. It's about his distance. And the margin back out to 83.
Talked about Darren Jolly and the success he's had in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and him coming to Collingwood, how good it's been. This guy, Luke Ball, has also been terrific. He's added a lot to the Collingwood footy team. He's had his critics at certain times of the year for his kicking. He's had an injury that kept him out for a week. But all in all, I think that the 2 recruits of the year for Collingwood in Ball and Jolly have been terrific. And that's a nice goal from Luke Ball, something he'd like to do more of coming into the finals.
It's been an opportunity for all the Collingwood players really to get a bit of the ball tonight. Been pretty much a game in their control.
Thomas.
Almost a training drill.
Well, that was a training drill kind of kick from Dale Thomas. You can't see him doing that grand final day of scores a level.
I reckon this last quarter, their recovery session will be hard on this last quarter.
Which is nasty but true.
Well, it's pretty much bruise-free football now, isn't it?
Rosa, Scott Selwood cut off. Swan. Possession number 35 coming up for Dane Swan.
And he's now just floating a kick behind play, just sweeping everything that comes along.
He hasn't gone forward of the centre of the ground for the last 15 minutes and racked up a lot of possessions.
And no one's gone near him.
No.
Brown, Wellingham, Tuvey. Almost, but not quite the mark to Jared Blair. Could have got one for too high. Critis to Waters. Makes it tough for Selwood. Caught a little high. Gets the free. Collingwood fans want more blood. Don't want their team to show any mercy. Dalziel. And if the mercy rule was in play in the AFL, they would have invoked it, and Collingwood led by 39 at quarter time. Davis down to Pendlebury.
Where is Dean Cox at, Jason?
Well, he's had a shocker, hasn't he? Just came off the bench there. Looked like he was going to take an easy mark, but Leon Davis came off the bench at the same time and spoiled it for him. He's had 13 possessions, Cox, but really no impact at all, and his effective disposal rate 54%.
Dawes nearly held that long enough. Waters shoots it up. McGinnity caught, dragged off it, and from watching McGinnity, it reminds you that Nick Maxwell also has to come back into this Collingwood lineup. It's not just still side bottom and maybe guys like Dick and Medhurst and Josh Fraser. It's the fish John West are rejecting at the moment that's making them one of the best.
Smitty, Mark McGrath's come off the ground. What's the reason for that?
Just to add a little bit more pain for the West Coast Eagles. He's limped off. They were checking his hamstring. Now they're just working on his lower back. So he's probably getting a little bit of tightness, hamstring tightness from his lower back.
Lynch caught a little high, and that's a play on. Handball to himself. Floats that towards half forward. Thomas comes back, but Selwood takes the mark on 50.
Just back on to Dean Cox, Jason. His own possessions and his effective haven't been great, but the effectiveness of his opponent, I think, are what's hurt him the most. Darren Jolly's had a terrific game, and you might not be getting the ball yourself, and you might be having a tough game, but you've got to stop the man you're playing on from being so effective.
I think Dean Cox is so used to playing the game on his terms, it takes a bit to adjust to actually become responsible for your opponent, not the other way around.
Selwood from 50, that's a horror. That's a pigeon scatter, that one.
Well, it was in the general direction of the goals anyway. Went forward. Oh, look at that, seriously. And in step Torpies ended up kicking Verdi.
Not easy to kick those.
We shouldn't make light of this. It's come to that, hasn't it?
That's all you can do. When you look at the scoreline, you've got to laugh. Otherwise, you just think of the pain.
If you tried to kick a Torpy off your heel, how many times would you be able to do it?
We used to practice in step Torpies. They were fun to kick, but you'd never have the courage to go for one for goal.
Back into play. They make it tougher for the West Coast. They will have to look on in September and watch Fremantle play for WA in September. And there'll be a good chance, given their draw, Fremantle on the way home to finish top two and maybe win a home final first up. John Worsfold with the headaches.
Scotty Burns would wonder what he's wandered into over there too.
Definitely.
Wellingham outside of the foot. Pendlebury, little back tap to his own advantage. Beams, Pendlebury caught, got a kick. Embley almost shuffles it back. Waters. O'Brien under this and beaten for a butt. Kennedy, who started well. Ebert, Nat Nui runs onto it. Manhandled by Anthony, diving through Reid, knocks it out. Swan again. Well, he's the second favourite for the Brownlow, Dane Swan, at the moment. And with Barlow's injury today, might shorten even further. That's possession number 38. And the ball out of play. And what a horror injury that was today for Fremantle fans.
Clean bowled here, Leon Davis. Got a nasty bounce.
Here's Ablett, Hodge, Swan, and it was Barlow in the betting for the Brownlow to this point of the year. Waters shorts it to half forward, and that's how bad it is for the West Coast. Lynch rides the bump though, bangs it long. McKinley got a hand to it, not enough.
Yeah, but it's not going right. It's not going right. But when you're dropping chest marks 55 metres out from goal, you know things haven't gone your way on today.
Swan, short, Johnson. O'Brien, Reid. Bangs it long. Jarrod Blair, the target. The smallest man on the field.
It's been terrific for a first game with Jarrod Blair.
Absolutely. Cloak, manhandled and still marks it.
Got to say though, if you want to come in anywhere for your first game, this would be the one to come in for. But he set the tone early. Jarrod Blair in and under early. Got his hands on the ball when the game was hot, and has continued it for the rest of the night.
Thomas, back, Reid. Wellingham might go, he doesn't. Dawes with the fist. Thumps straight down to Didak. Thread that nicely. Look away handball to Jolly. One last chance of the score for Collingwood. Ball inside 50 and maybe just inside his range.
He looked a hand pass this to someone, I reckon.
Davis is running back to the square. Wellingham's back there.
There it is.
Hands it off to Johnson. No one mans him up. From 50. Davis can't mark. And we'll get a ball in with 11 seconds left on the clock. They've plumbed a new depth tonight, the West Coast. Wellingham rolls it towards full forward. Ball from mid-air misses behind. But Collingwood will be top of the AFL ladder, and they are sailing to September in hot form right now. A lot of talk about Hawthorn. Don't forget the Magpies. An 83-point demolition of the West Coast Eagles. It's hard to look when you look for somebody who might be the best player for Collingwood tonight. I had them everywhere. Darren Jolly with 4 goals. Magnificent. Didak with 3 in the third term in 3 minutes. It was awesome to watch. Dane Swan, 38 possessions and a 20-goal night. The biggest win of the year so far for Collingwood. 83 points, 20 goals, 15, 135 to the West Coast. 7-10, 52. Let's head downstairs. Rowan Smith.
Thanks, Dwayne. Well, Alan, it was a pretty even performance all the way through, and it was a terrific win in the end.
Yeah, that's right. I think when we play well, everyone plays well. When